The Paradox Church started in our home 10 years ago. We started gathering 8 people, then 15, then 40 into our living room because Jesus called us to plant a church in downtown Fort Worth. We would teach the Bible, invite our friends over who didn't know Jesus yet. It was amazing. A guy named Brian first called out to the Lord to save him in my kitchen. We baptized our first person in a lake. We saw whole restaurant staffs coming out. And we treasured Jesus together. We delighted in the Lord, and He was faithful to flex and to do good things. We multiplied that first living room group into 3. So we started having Sunday services so that we could all gather and be the church together. And so we had our first gathering at Stage West Theater. The next month we met at Ridgely Theater. Before it was remodeled, it was super smoky. The sound guy was literally smoking during the service. The next month we met at the Botanic Gardens, which I don't remember a bit about because our first daughter was born the night before. I just know that a gal met Jesus for the first time and we got to baptize her a couple of months later. We were a church and we treasured Jesus together. We delighted in the Lord and He was faithful to flex and to do good things. Our first official Sunday was January 9th, 2011 at the Van Cliburn Hall. A guy named EJ became a Christian that day. He and his wife became some of our closest friends. Since that first Sunday, we have gathered at First Christian Church, Trinity Park, Riverside Baptist Church, and now Doxology Bible Church. We've gathered in 8 different places, and no matter where we were, we treasured Jesus together, we delighted in the Lord, and He was faithful to flex and do good things. Along the way, we've had plenty of disappointments, heartaches, but we've also seen God be really, really faithful. Since that first Sunday, almost 10 years ago, we have saturated the city in a couple of dozen neighborhoods. From Arlington to Aledo, we've baptized almost 300 people. We've helped plant over 30 churches from Detroit to Brazil, and we've sent out new churches in the city to the east, the west, and the north. At each one of these defining moments, we were treasuring Jesus together, delighting in the Lord, and He was faithful to flex and do good things.
We want to treasure, he says it twice, treasure, but we want to treasure Jesus. And like as a church and as individuals, let's treasure Jesus. And I think that's very apparent in the Paradox. I think people who walk into the Paradox understand that like we love Jesus and we are proclaiming His name for His glory.
10 years ago, we planted this church out of that living room moment, and for the first 5 years, Jesus took us on a wild ride. We were like a kite in the wind of the Spirit, baptizing people, changing lives. Marriages were changed. Everyone was confessing their suffering and sin, and Jesus was rooting out so much brokenness. It was amazing. And then the last 5 years seemed to be culminating to now. In 2016, we came close to getting our own building in downtown Fort Worth. It fell through. It was really disappointing, but we put our heads down, we kept going, we planted Grace Church with Pastor Ryan in 2017. In the fall of 2018, we decided to lease out space on 3rd Street in downtown. They decided they didn't want a church in that building, and it was hard, but we put our heads down, we kept going. We planted Pillar Church with Kanan and Eric and Derek in July of 2019. In 2019, we went after the public market. It came up for sale. That didn't work, and it was really painful. But we put our heads down, we kept going. We planted Jake in Northbrook Church in March of 2020. 5 years of disappointment, 5 years of gospel endurance, but now, in the midst of a global pandemic, in the chaos of 2020, Jesus did it. What we've been praying for, we got it. This is 1.5 acres at 900 Belknap in downtown Fort Worth. And now we have an opportunity to build our mission headquarters. Listen, 10 years ago, we were just trying to plant a church, get it off the ground, wondering if people would come. Now we're planting a church for 200 years. We're planning for generations. We're planting a gospel legacy in the heart of the 13th largest city in the U.S. As this year has been building to this moment, with all that has happened, COVID-19, the racial unrest, political divisions, I've had this increasing burden and responsibility growing in my spiritual heart for us. Dreams for us. Dreams of being a place where the gospel lamp burns hot and bright and all people come to Jesus. Dreams of being a sacred space for people to encounter Jesus in His glory and grace. Dreams of being a home for more victims of sex trafficking in our city. Dreams of being a place where ethnic unrest finds rest. Dreams of being a place where we baptize our children, we marry our spouse, where we have a gospel legacy to leave to the next generation.
Yeah, man, we are putting a building in a prominent location where, the building's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be a landmark in Fort Worth much longer than any of us are here. And I love the term mission headquarters because we truly are on mission, and I cannot wait to recruit others to come onto that mission, whether that's corporations within the city of Fort Worth, whether that's big donors, whether that is the guy sitting at 7-Eleven across the street from our building. Man, I want them to be a part of what we're doing, and I want to serve as many people in the city of Fort Worth as we can.
This is absolutely going to take all of us being all in. And yes, a big part of this fall is going to be about raising money, but it has to go deeper than that for us to be what Jesus is calling us to be. What if there was a moment that God would give us collectively where we could all get more of Him? What if COVID-19 and the chaos of this year and the opportunity to build our own permanent home was a gospel cocktail that Jesus stirred up so that we could get more of His kingdom and more of Him? This is why over the next 2 years, we are asking you to take part in what we are calling the Desire Initiative. We have 2 goals in this season. The first one, the primary goal, is discipleship around our desires. We want everyone, all of us, to engage with God at the heart level around our desires, around those things that capture and captivate you. Jesus repeatedly talks about money being one of the biggest hindrances in our pursuit of more of God. That's a huge part of it. But even deeper is, what do we trust in? What it really is our treasure? What if God is calling us to surrender more in order to get more of Him?
I think the Desire Initiative will challenge how we quantify a lot of things. I think it's going to challenge how we quantify His ability to work in our city. I think it's going to challenge just the practicality of what we consider to be much and little. I hope that it surprises us in a good way, and I think it will. And I think it will expand our faith and our belief of what we see the Lord to be really capable of. And then I think it will give us a lot more stories to share with excitement and experience, and we can claim them as our own and not just say, the God of the Bible did this centuries ago, but we can say, the God of the Bible did this now through our dollars and through our prayers and our people and our family.
And then our secondary goal is mission advancement. Over the next 2 years of the Paradox, we're going to advance the mission in these 2 ways. First, we're going to keep saturating Fort Worth with the glory and grace of Jesus. We're going to keep preaching the gospel, planting churches, pushing back darkness. We're going to focus on the everyday gospel ministry that makes the Paradox the Paradox. And then the second thing is we're going to build our mission headquarters. This property at 900 Belknap, it's something we've been praying about for years, and Jesus gave it to us. And now it shows the city that we're here to stay, that we're going to invest in the city and bring to them the light of Jesus. We've been praying that God would accelerate our generosity as a church in such a way that it would allow us to build on this property with as little debt as possible. As we all engage in what God has for us in this season, surrender to His leading. Desire Him. We are believing that God will do more than we can ask or imagine, and we know that Jesus will lead us.